What do I say to somebody who's sitting in front of me and, they're telling me, Doc, I've hit the bottom. I'm at the bottom of the barrel right now. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's a stock phrase. I don't think there's a one answer that fits everybody in that situation. It's typically met with a question, what's going on? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Why, from your standpoint, do you feel like you're hitting bottom right now? And for different people, it's different reasons. But often it's loss of hope for any kind of positive in the future. And if that's the case, then that's a conversation as to what their hopes are, what their expectations are, how can we do things to try to help them reach their goals. I'll tell you a story about a gentleman that I took care of. This was many years ago. He was an older guy, came in, had a tumor that could only be biopsied, and so we biopsied. It was a glioblastoma. He was having some weakness, and so he went to rehab. 10 days into rehab, he had a stroke that knocked out his leg function on one side, and so he couldn't walk anymore. He got very depressed and ended up, within a few days of that, electing hospice and going home. And this was back in the days when I was still doing home visits, and I actually went and visited him at home because I felt like there were things that he needed to still say and we needed to talk about. And I remember, so they had the bed set up in the living room, and we talked, and he basically was sitting there and just waiting for death to take him. He had given up on doing anything or accomplishing anything in life. And what I told him is that, I can't do it for you, but while your leg is not working, your brain is still working very well. And if your brain is working, you have every opportunity to live life, to make memories, and to accomplish things. And I left, and I didn't know that I'd really touched him at all or had any thoughts, but his wife was a photographer, and she sent me pictures about a week later. So he couldn't walk, and so his buddies had taken him in a wheelchair. They had rented a pontoon boat, and they had pictures of him sitting on the pontoon boat fishing with all of his buddies. A couple weeks later, I got some pictures from the golf course where he's out there and he's on the putting green with everybody. And again, he wasn't doing what he was doing exactly before, but he was out and about and living life and doing things with his friends. And the last was a video that she sent where, with a brace on his leg and using a walker, he had gained no function back in the leg, but he was walking down the driveway and down the sidewalk, turned around, came walking back. He died a few weeks after that. Again, didn't want to do treatment, but he had accomplished a lot. And the thing that, the point that was reinforced to me is that it's not about the golf, it's not about the fishing, it's not about the scuba diving, it's about the people that you're making those memories with. Because for him, it was actually getting back out there, all choked up, but it's getting back out there, and it was being with the people that meant the most to him. And that was the biggest reward from that. And so if people have that capacity still, and not everybody does, they can still make memories and they can still live life. It's still there, it's still possible. You may have to think outside the box, and it may not be exactly what you were doing a year or 10 years ago, but you still have the capacity of doing that.